rolling out with the break of dawn. Canvas skies and the show goes on. Iron stakes and the hammer sound. Building dreams on this muddy ground. With sawdust running through our veins, we do it for the faces in the crowd. Step right up with R&B, 'cause this ain't just a show, it's circus history.
All right. Howdy, everyone, and welcome to Off the Rail Podcast, your podcast for everything circus. We're your Off the Rail ringmasters. I'm R. This is B. How you doing, B?
How's it going today?
We are doing wonderful. And today's guest, we have Angela Burt.
Yes.
How you doing,
right.
Angela?
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
Thank you for coming on. And my first question is, we ask everybody, what made you run away with the circus?
Yeah, that's a great question. I was a cheerleader actually in high school, and I was working at a Chinese restaurant as a waitress, and I had a circus come through town, and I went and saw the show, and I was like, oh my gosh, I think I could do this. Feeling a little lost in life. All my friends went off to college, and so yeah, once I saw that show, it really inspired me, and then probably about 3 or 4 months later, I packed my car up and ran away and joined the circus. So that's the short story, I guess.
What made you pick the act that you're currently doing?
So I do a discipline called perch pull, and it's actually kind of a dying discipline in the circus world. Up until like a few years ago, we were one of the only people in the US performing it full time, and but we started training it probably 4.5 years ago when the pandemic hit. So originally my acro partner and I were just like adagio, partner acrobatics, and group acrobatics.
Oh,
We
wow.
put our own little spin on things, like stilts. Like we did like stilt acrobatics and blindfolded stuff, trying to make it original and
Nice.
different. But so we started there and we worked together for about 8 years doing that. And it's a very competitive world out there. There's a lot of adagio hand-to-hand acrobats, and so we were struggling a little bit, but we were doing okay. And then we stumbled across perch pull, which we saw on YouTube. And so we decided that when the pandemic hit and we weren't really working, we were just going to train this new apparatus. And so that was kind of the start of that. And we had no teachers, no nothing. We kind of just had to like figure it out ourselves through trial and error. So yeah, so that was kind of how we got into that. So
How high is the pole?
well, we started off, obviously we built up to about 30 feet, and but we started off at about like, I think the pole was only like 6 feet, 7 feet or something like that. And we're like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. And then over the last, like, I think every year we add a couple feet because we just get a little more and more comfortable with it, I guess. And yeah, we're probably up to about 30 feet, I would say,
Oh my God.
and always pushing to go higher. So
So how do you manage, like, is there any kind of fear in that? Like, how do you manage that high in the air?
my acro partner, whose name is John Dutch, he likes to joke that I have a few screws loose up there because I've always been like that. It's just like never really had a fear for heights, which is like, is good for a flyer, I guess, to not really have that fear, but also can, it's got its pros and cons. But yeah, I don't know. It's just has never really been a problem for me, and it's just something I've been doing since I was young. I was always like the tiny one up in the trees, and my mom was like terrified because I'm like so high up in the branches, and she's like, "What?" So I've just always been like that, I guess.
So how long did it take you to perfect your art before you can
With
like?
perch pole,
Yes.
I mean, I think we're still perfecting it, to be honest. We are relatively new to it. Like we've only really full time been performing it for about like 4 years now. So yeah, we're relatively still new to it. But I do a lot of the choreography and I choose a lot of our music and all that. And so I'm always just like always trying to learn new like pole tricks and stuff because I honestly didn't even start training pole until up at like I don't know 6 years ago. So I'm actually kind of new to like Chinese pole too. So it's just like it was all skill sets that I had to just I'm just always learning, always pushing myself. And I always feel like I can always be a student, you know, it doesn't matter how old you get, you can always be a student. So I'm always like
What,
wanting to learn and do better. So,
what,
Very nice.
so what, like when you coming up with a new act,
mhm.
what kind of process do you go through? Does the music come first? Is the music original?
Yeah, usually it's like I get inspired by music, and then the choreography kind of writes itself to me. I try to have a really good ear to listen for music cues and stuff like that, which I think goes a really long ways in acts. If you can just really dial something to the music, the crowd feels it. It's just more impacted. Like it's I think it really adds to their routine. And on top of that, I actually make all my costumes too. So I try to,
Oh, wow.
I
That's
try to,
cool.
yeah, I design and sew my costumes. And so I try to like make them, you know, look like how the feel of the act, the music, and stuff like that.
Right on.
Very nice.
Yeah.
So, what was your first circus you ran away with?
Um, technically, I just joined my acro partner. So he was part of the circus that came through my tiny hometown. I was living in Rigby, Idaho, which is tiny, tiny town. Most people have never even heard of it. Um, and so they just so happened to come through my hometown, which is kind of crazy. So he was part of that circus. And after the show, I got to meet all the performers. And so I got to meet him. I got to meet, you know, everyone else. And I was like so inspired. I followed them all on Facebook and I was like, oh my gosh, like, what can I do to, like, I want to do what you guys are doing. And all of them kind of, you know, it's hard to give advice to, I was like 18, 19 at the time. So they're like, oh, you know, everyone's got their own paths, like, make a demo reel, whatever. So I was like, oh, okay. So, anyways, but then 2 months later, my acro partner posts, or he wasn't my acro partner at the time, but Dutch posted that him and his girlfriend broke up, which was also his acro partners. So now he has no acro partners. So he had like probably hundreds of comments of like people being like, oh, so and so would be awesome for you and da da da, check out blah blah blah. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's not even gonna remember me, this like tiny girl from Rigby, Idaho, you know. So I sent him a personal message and I was like, hey, don't know if you remember me. I'm the tiny blonde one that you met in Idaho. I saw you at your show. I was like, I'd be interested in being your acro partner, you know? And then I sent it and then just kind of didn't think anything more of it. I didn't want to like, I don't know. I just kind of figured he wouldn't even respond. And sure enough, like 2 days later, he goes, yeah, move to Portland. I'll train you. And I'm like, what?
Wow.
So I was
Amazing
like,
how things work.
yeah. So I was like, okay. So I literally 2 months later, I packed my entire car up and told, like, quit my job and moved to Portland. Told my family I was running away to join the circus. I didn't know a single person in Portland, Oregon. I had no friends there, had no family. It was just kind of a leap of faith at about 19 years old and first time living on my own. So it was, yeah, it was a leap of faith.
Wow. So, okay, and doing that, what are the key skills? What are the first things you need to master to do
um,
an act like that?
for perch, I mean, I try to train 5 to 6 days a week. I try to take it very, very seriously. Um, and that has helped our skill level go up like crazy. And it's hard to balance too because we're full time performers. This is our only source of income. And so it's like if we're performing a lot, we're not training. If we're training a lot, we're not performing and not making
Right.
money. So it's a hard balance to find, but I don't know, just to keep upping the skill and making our act different on the other acts. It's just, yeah, we just have to make that time to train and turn down gigs and contracts and just find that balance.
Yeah.
You helped created Rose City Circus?
I am one of the founding members of it,
Okay.
but Dutch, my acro partner, is one who pretty much like created it. Um, but I've been with him since like the day he, started it, and we've like taken it kind of all over the country a little bit, and that was where we started before Perch. And so we had like a few members of Rose City Circus, and we went on the Gong Show, actually, if you remember the Gong
Nice.
Wow.
Show.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, and we actually won our episode with the Rose City Circus doing
Nice.
stilt acrobatics, which is super awesome. And then after we started training Perch and realizing that like trying to get a troupe hired and get everyone enough money that they're worth is a lot harder than even like in a duo. It's hard. It's like as a soloist you can just kind of pocket all the money, but as a duo we have to split everything. And so as a troupe we had to split everything 5-6 ways, and it was just a grind. It was hard, but we did it for quite a few years. And he still puts on a bunch of shows. Like we have one coming up, the White Album Christmas show here in Portland, Oregon, and it's like 3 weeks long and sold out shows every night and ran by the Rose City Circus. So we still do it. We still have like pop-up shows here and there, but mainly we're Dauntless Duo doing our duo Perch thing. So
What was the first thing that you got involved with the circus? Was it the Perch, or was it just
yeah, no, Perch came into my life about 4 years ago. I've been doing circus for about 11 or 12 years now. So before that, I was doing chair stacking, hand balancing. And then that led into kind of like partner acrobatics, group acrobatics, stilt acrobatics. And then I started learning Chinese pole. And then I started learning head balancing. And then Perch came after that. And so, but it's kind of cool because now all the Chinese pole stuff blends well with Perch because I'm doing Chinese pole tricks on the Perch pole. And then head balancing, little did I know, was I've been working on that for about 4 years. Head balancing, now I'm doing on top of the Perch pole. So that kind of like went perfectly too with our act. So
very
Well,
nice?
that's good.
Go ahead, Ar.
Go ahead. How did you guys come up with the name Rose City
Rose
for
City
your
is because
circus?
Portland is the city of roses. That's kind of what we're known for. So it just kind of made sense. It's like Rose City Circus, and yeah, it's kind of got a flow to it. So
Nice.
yeah,
So on the perch pole, I have to ask, were you
yeah,
nervous when you first started with your partner, or did you already, because you already been working with them, so you already had that trust?
totally. But he was new to it, and I was new to it, so I definitely was nervous, especially performing it for the first time ever. Putting that on stage is like it was just a whole new thing. But we started off in safety lines, and now we actually perform without safety lines full time. And
That's
so,
crazy.
yeah, so, I'm 30 feet in the air, perform with no safety lines. And honestly, like the safety lines kind of got in the way for a lot of the pole tricks I was doing, which was kind of our first push of taking it out of safety. Because I do drops and I do flips on the Chinese pole, and I was just getting tangled in the safety line. So it actually became a little even more dangerous of me being in the safety because it would like end up wrapped around my neck or something weird. And I'm
Oh
like,
boy.
okay, this is, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was like the first push that it was to take it out of safety lines for at least that section. And then when he put it on his head and then I climb up and do the handstand at the top, I was pretty much always in a safety line for that. And then when the NBA came to us and they were like, hey, we really like your act, but we don't really have a whole lot of safety lines. It just takes too much work and effort and money. And so can you do your act without it? And we kind of were like, yeah, totally. And that was kind of the push to get it out of safety lines completely, the full act. And so we did, we did it very safely and slowly and tried not to rush it. And we hadn't had any like crazy falls for a few years, which is why it made us comfortable enough to think that we were good enough to do it. And so, yeah, now we're doing it 30 feet in the air, no safety lines for, for all over the world, really.
You
Very
said
nice, very
NBA,
nice.
you mean like
Yeah. Yep. So we
basketball?
do,
Like
yep,
so half
basketball.
shows.
So we do WNBA, we do NBA, we do college, female and male. We've
Wow.
done NHL hockey, actually.
Oh, no
Um,
kidding. Huh.
yeah, and we've actually done 2 years. We've performed for the finals for the NBA. So we did the Pacers just this last year, and
Oh,
then 2 years
wow.
ago we did it with Denver. So
Oh, that's pretty cool.
yeah.
So on the perch pole, is it always on the head or is it rested on the chest?
So it's actually on his shoulder,
Shoulder.
for the Chinese pole when I'm flipping around doing the crazy pole tricks, just so he could kind of stabilize more. And then the second half of the act, he puts that pole down, and then he gets a pole that has a little donut that goes on top of his head, and that's the one that goes on his head, and he free balances it. And I'm up there doing head balancing,
Jeez.
balancing on my head, free balancing, or hand balancing up there. So yeah, it's two separate poles, and they both are like combined into one act. We actually do have
Yes.
three poles. The third one, if we want to do a longer act, is kind of where he has it in a harness right here, and he spins it, and I put a loop around my neck, and I fly around by my neck.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I was gonna say when he puts that donut on his head, my man must have no neck. Like must have a
He's
huge
all
neck.
neck.
Jeez.
He
Wow.
likes to joke that every day is neck day. And now I'm on the
Yeah,
neck
it's
day
neck.
train because I'm doing a bunch of neck stuff now. And I'm like, okay, yep, every day's neck day.
Do you have any pre-show rituals that you do?
Um, kind of. It's funny because my acro partner and I are so different, very, very different. He gets very like pumped up and he's like listening to music and he's just like, woo, yeah, let's do this. And then I'm more like headphones in, don't talk to me, just kind of like meditating because I just try to have like a healthy respect for what I do. And I know what I do is dangerous. And, I'm the one 30 feet in
Sure.
the air. And
Oh
so,
yeah.
yeah, I kind of do. I don't really meditate much in my life, but that is like the one time that I absolutely, right before a show, a performance, I just kind of go into my little quiet place. I'm very quiet. I'm to myself, and I'm just like very like hyper focused.
I'm guessing that's how you stay motivated and focused during long show days and long schedules too.
Yeah, totally. I mean, sometimes we're doing like 3 shows a day, so it's like it's a lot and can be a lot mentally, physically, all of the things.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people have told us that they have to get into a zone and like, and
Yeah,
then you have the other ones that are like, jamming out, getting themselves pumped up and ready.
yeah,
So yeah, we totally
yeah.
understand that. And
How
and
funny.
oddly enough, a lot of people that go in the air are the quiet zone ones.
Yeah,
So
imagine that.
so so what has been your favorite cities traveling to or performing in?
Oh man. So we recently just performed in Taiwan, and that was my first time in Asia, and
Oh
it
man.
Wow.
was, yeah, it was incredible. Such a cool experience. Obviously the international ones stand out to me more, but I did do a 1 month contract performing off Broadway in New York, and that was super awesome. So I pretty much was living in Times Square for like a whole month and just
Oh
got to
wow.
like really see the city and see what it was about. I was always intrigued by New York. But yeah, Taiwan sticks out to me. I did 2 months in Germany, which was
Oh cool.
gorgeous. Yep, Dresden, Germany. And then we did global games with the NBA in Abu Dhabi, which was also super
Wow.
incredible. Yeah. So that was all within this last year. So
So
kind of everywhere this year.
wow. Okay.
Yeah.
What would you say is the I don't know how to put this. Like what would be one of the main things like when you do your performance you're up there? Um what's the one thing you want the audience to take away? How you want them feeling?
Mm, I think it's just cool to take them out of the world, even just for 5 minutes. There's a lot of
Right on.
things going on in the world, and we specifically design our act to catch their attention right in the beginning. So literally within the first 30 seconds of our act, he's raising that pole. I climb up it, I get to the very tippity top, and then I do a full free fall drop, and I stop probably about that much
Oh
from his
my.
fingers.
I'm not gonna lie.
And
That I've seen this act. I've been watching y'all
yeah,
on social media for the last
okay,
two
yeah,
and a half months, and it makes me nervous when I see you drop down and stuff like that.
yeah,
I bet.
So
Oh my goodness.
I'm
like free fall. Like the first time we did that, my acro partner Dutch, he like literally screamed. Obviously, we only did it from like we did like a baby drop, and like I have a
Sure.
video of it. He just like he screams, he lets out this like huge scream, and now I'm doing it from like 17 feet drops. But that immediately like gets the audience's attention, obviously.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and it's cool because it's like they gasp, which is awesome because like we love to hear the cheers, we love to hear the woos and all that, but like gasps are just like that's a genuine reaction from the crowd, and like you're not asking for it. It's just like they're just like, oh my gosh, what are we looking at? What are we watching right now?
you
And
get
so
it on
that
social
is like
media
my
too.
favorite moment. Yeah, yeah. It's just it's my favorite moment, and it's just like I feel like at that point we got them hooked, and now they're in our world, and yeah, it's a pretty cool feeling. And we have people tell us all the time that like you guys have like one of my most favorite acts I've seen, or people at the basketball games will be like, well, the game sucked, but honestly, like just you guys performing was worth the ticket price, stuff like that.
Oh
And
wow.
so it's very flattering.
Oh my goodness.
So y'all travel
Have
with a.
you ever?
Oh, go ahead, R.
I was gonna say, have you ever had any near misses?
Um, I mean, we've had some scary calls for sure. I don't get paid to fall, so try not
Yeah,
to do that.
yeah, true.
Unless it's a controlled fall.
Well,
um,
yeah, there you go.
but yeah, we've had a few scary things almost happen. Obviously, I think if I full on fell, a little morbid, but I could possibly just not even be here. So it's like it's
Oh yeah.
definitely high risk for sure, and we've had moments of like performing on stages that were uneven, and we show up and we're like, this is not okay, and they're like, oh, it's always like this every year, da, da, da. It's just like sometimes we just don't feel heard, and it's been a very learning curve of like just doing this act. It's a lot more dangerous than the partner acrobatics we were doing for 8 years, and so now we've learned that we really have to stick up for ourselves and advocate for ourselves and be like, no, this is not okay, like we won't perform if this is the case. Because sure enough, after we like raised concerns about the floor being uneven, I during a dress rehearsal, I was climbed up there, I was in the handstand, he took a step and tripped on an uneven
Oh,
surface, and the pole started to go forward. He put hands on it as fast as he could, knocked me out of my handstand. No safety lines. I'm 30
oh
feet in
boy.
the air, and I somehow was able to control myself down and
Oh,
pike down and get myself to the pole and kind of hold myself. And he gained control and got under it and saved it. And we were very lucky. And I came down and I was shaking, full of adrenaline, obviously,
sure,
and was really mad. I was really, really mad. And
sure.
I like did the bow. I tried to stay professional, and I walked away and I went and sat in the rain for 20 minutes crying because it was just like literally like
Oh
like
yeah,
my
nobody
life.
knows how close. Yeah. Oh
Yeah.
man.
And I don't even know if like the directors realize how close of a call that was or how scary that was to
Oh
me,
man.
and so and then I ended up writing them a letter the next day and just being like, look, this was not okay. Like this happened. It could have been really, really bad. And I realized that was a moment where I realized I'd rather be writing this email before stuff happens than after when it might be too
Yeah,
late. And so it was very eye opening
definitely.
for me. So
Do y'all
yeah.
guys perform in a lot of tents?
Yeah, we do. I mean, Germany, when we performed in Germany, it was a dinner theater show. So we were actually performing up on the tables where the guests were eating, which is,
Whoa.
yeah,
What?
it's kind of scary, kind of cool. And so we've done tent shows like that. Yeah, pretty much the tent shows are our favorite shows to do. It's just like, it just feels so like, it just makes your circus heart happy.
Yeah, yeah,
You're
that's
like,
cool.
It's more
just
up
a
close and
true like
personal.
circus. Yeah, exactly. You know, that the NBA stadiums are awesome because there's a 360 built-in high energy crowd, which is super cool. But like, there is something intimate about performing in like a circus tent that we love. So
Nice.
yeah,
Uh, how do you see things evolving? Like with
yeah,
your show, your act?
yeah. It's a good question. We see things evolving in so many ways. For one, so every year we get asked to do America's Got Talent, and we turn them down every year because A, they don't pay you, and we're full time performers. So if we're
Mhm.
performing for them for free, then it's taking away money, and we're busy. Like we're pretty much
Sure.
constantly booked and turning gigs down, which is super awesome, and not all performers can say that. So I'm very grateful for that. This year we decided maybe we do it. Just to, our social media is very small. We're very small fish in the social media world, and honestly, like, unfortunately, half the booking does come from Instagram and social media these days, which is kind of crazy. So it would be cool to just kind of get seen by more bigger corporate work or circuses, and so we're considering doing that. I mean, that's just like a drop in the bucket, but we took the entire summer off pretty much to train and push the limits. We just had a fabricator build us a brand new perch pole, which, um, from what we've seen, we're watching a video from like the 50s. It's a black and white video of the last person to do this act. And maybe there is someone else in the world doing it. We just are not aware of them, I guess. But it's pretty much like a giant seven that is balanced off his shoulder, and the farther out I go on the seven, the farther out the pole goes from him, if that makes
Oh yeah.
sense. So the seven
Yeah.
leans farther away, and I walk out, and I do these like upside down skywalks. And
Oh, wow.
we have no one to ask how to do this skill, how
Oh
to
boy.
build this equipment. Like, it was all just trial and error of us just trying to figure it out from this like grainy video and trying to like zoom in on things. And so that is
This is
like a
insane.
very exciting. Yeah, it's a new act. We haven't performed it yet. We're hoping to maybe debut it on America's Got Talent. Maybe we could do it sooner. Maybe it won't be ready by then. I don't know. So it's something that we're really pushing, and I think it's gonna
Yeah,
like
that's
really
crazy.
take
And
our act to the next level.
the
So
pole's on his shoulder at this point, correct?
yep. So this one will be on his shoulder. It goes up like probably I don't know, maybe 20 feet. And
Mm.
then it goes out that way about 5, 6 feet, maybe 7 feet. And I go to the very end. And then when I get to the very end, the pole as I go out to the end, it shifts this way. So it's like going away from him. And supposedly he could do it all free balancing without having hands on the pole. So we're to the point where he only has one hand on the pole. I get to the end, he could take both hands off and kind of like free balance it. We're still very
Oh
new to
boy.
it. We're still trying to figure it out. And
Sure.
then I do tricks at the end, like aerial tricks at the end, or we can hook up any apparatus we want to it, and I can do. That's kind of a in the future stuff, but just stuff we're thinking about of how to like really push it to the next level. So
Wow.
yeah,
I just saw it on your Instagram.
yeah, okay, yeah, you've seen it.
Yeah,
Very, very new in the works.
it's pretty insane.
Yeah, I'm excited for
You're
that.
not gonna do
Hopefully you get
flips
that
up
work.
there, are you?
Probably not flips. I don't think this pole will like kind of allow that. It's going to be a very kind of different designed act. But the plan is to be able to hook it's called a Washington trapeze. If you're not aware of what a Washington trapeze is, it's pretty much like a normal trapeze, what you see people kind of swing on and hang on. We would
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
hang a Washington trapeze at the very end of it, and I would do head balancing on the trapeze. So
Oh,
it's like
wow.
it kind of moves and rocks.
Oh
And
my
not very many
goodness. Yeah.
people do Washington trapeze either. It's kind of also a discipline that's kind of rare in the circus world. So
That's crazy.
So you guys are
yeah.
after the rarities.
Yeah, I mean, just always adding on. I don't know. It's really cool that like we both just feel very inspired. The thing is like we got such a late start in circus, and so it's like it almost feels like we have something to prove, which we don't. But we weren't like fifth generation circus like a lot of the people that we work with. They've been doing it for centuries. Like their grandma's grandma did perch pole, and it's like I started circus when I was like 18, and he started circus when he was like, I think 25 or something, 26. And so like we got a late start. And so we just want to see how far we could take it. We've already like in
Sure.
4 years of learning perch pole, we've already taken it so far of like performing all over the world, doing the NBA like finals games, global games, and and like we're slowly just building our career up. And like we've been working together for about 12 years now, but in a weird way it feels like our career has like officially just begun, because it's the first time we've really like seen success. And before we were just kind of grinding and working for peanuts and living paycheck to paycheck. So
Sure.
Well,
Yeah.
hard work will pay
yeah,
off.
yeah, and we didn't quit and stuck with it, and
That's good.
somehow
So,
yeah.
what does your day of training look like for this?
Yeah. So yeah, like I said, I train about 5 to 6 days a week, and I try to really stick to that. I really try to treat it like a job. Like you wouldn't call out of work unless you're really sick. I'm not going to call out of training. And a lot of my friends will give me a hard time for that and just be like, come on, just come out and do that. I'm like, I really do take this very seriously. And I know I have a small window of how long I get to do this for. So I show up, and I usually get there probably an hour and a half before my base gets there, because he pretty much does this. And then he's like, okay, whew, I'm ready to go. Let's go. I'm like, okay, I've been stretching for a whole hour. I'm almost ready. Let me just sit my splits. um, so yeah, I show up before he does. I sit there and I stretch for probably an hour and do warm ups, and then we'll work on stuff for probably an hour or two. So I'm usually training about 2 to 3 hours a day, sometimes up to 4 hours a day, just depending on what I'm working on.
Right on.
Yeah.
If you if you would have never seen that initial circus, what do you think you'd be doing today?
That's a great question. I don't know, and I do think about that because I was kind of a little bit of a troubled teen. I was actually born and raised Mormon, and I was feeling very rebellious and kind of getting into alcohol and drugs. And when I
Yep.
graduated high school, all my friends went off to college and kind of moved away. And I was just stuck in my tiny hometown and just feeling lost. And just, I wasn't very like school smart and kind of struggled in school a little bit. And so I was like, "Ugh, I don't even know if I could go to college. And so I was working at a Chinese restaurant as a waitress and just kind of doing that for like 2 years probably. Um, and it's hard to think. I can't even picture myself doing anything besides what I'm doing now. And so, like looking back on it, I don't really know what I would have done. I mean, I was kind of groomed to just become a housewife and pop out babies, and I always kind of knew that life was not for me at a young age.
Right.
And so yeah, I was just feeling very lost, and I'm not sure where I'd be.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
If you could trade places with any circus founder, past or present, for one day, who would it be and why?
Founder. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, Ringling is obviously very well known in the world, and probably one of the most well known circuses, and kind of more traditional circus versus like Cirque du Soleil. So I maybe go with like Ringling. I don't know. Like I said, it just like makes my heart happy to perform in like circus tents and like,
Sure.
and it's, old school circus is definitely a grind though, of like breaking down tents and stuff like that. So I know it's a lot of work,
Oh,
Oh
but
yeah.
it just feels very like traditional circus.
Right on.
so have you performed with Circus Soleil?
Um, I've done like little opening events for them, but officially working for Cirque du Soleil, no. But they did contact us recently to perform with them in Andorra's, and which was super exciting and awesome. And then they emailed us and said they decided to go in another direction.
Oh,
And it that stuff happens,
yeah.
and maybe it'll
That's all right.
happen. Yeah, maybe it'll happen for us someday. Maybe it
Yeah.
won't. But I like to think
Well,
that I respect Cirque du Soleil so much, and I think it would be awesome to have it on a resume. But I think a
sure.
lot of people get in their heads that Cirque du Soleil is like the end all be all of circus, and of your circus career. And I actually don't believe that at all.
Besides, sometimes when you get that no, it just opens up something better. So
Yeah, true. Yep. And pushes you to work even harder. And,
yeah, oh yeah.
so.
So
So
have you
what
spent?
would you say is the? Go ahead, bro.
Oh, so um have you ever got an opportunity? Do you have any pie stories since you've been out on the circuses?
Pie stories?
Yes.
As in like
So
getting
as
pied?
tradition, yeah, on your
Yes.
Okay.
birthday.
Yes. Yes. With Cirque Mechanics, they're based out of Vegas and they make it a tradition that on everyone's birthday, you get pied. And so I schemed with a few people and got them pied. I've been pied myself. My favorite one was when we were doing the Chinese bicycle act, and we just made it a thing. And we were like, "Oh, we really need to work on this trick. It's been kind of wobbly." And so one of the guys who's like on the bike was riding around, and then I'm supposed to run up and get on the bike, and more people pile on the bike, and I ran up on the bike and then had to somehow managed to pie him in the face.
Oh man.
He wasn't going very fast, and it was fine, and he put feet on the ground really fast. But yeah, we got really sneaky with it of pieing each other and trying to make it like not know when it's coming, and like yeah. So
Oh,
we've had
that's
a
the
lot of
art of it.
fun pie moments.
Oh yeah. If he didn't tell you, both of us were with Ringling.
Were you okay?
So
I actually didn't know
we
that.
had
That's
yeah we
funny.
had to on your birthday you had to duck and dodge clowns because those were the ones that were coming to get you.
That's so funny. And I didn't know you guys worked with Ringling. That's a small
Yeah,
world. Makes sense.
I used to be a cook for him, and he worked on train crew.
Ah.
Yep.
Oh, amazing.
I
Okay.
maintained like if something broke in your room on the train, I was the guy to
Yeah.
go fix it.
A handyman.
And exactly, I was the handyman. Exactly what it was. Yep.
That's
So,
awesome.
but yeah, we've dodged mini pies, and
Mini
I
pies.
I've only succeeded 1 year of not getting pied when I was on the circus.
Really?
So yeah,
Dodge
I
many
hid
and got
away.
hit by many. I got hit by many too. So.
Yeah, it's fun though. I like it.
Oh yeah,
So
oh, it's a fun
we like
time.
to ask our guests that their best pie stories.
Yeah.
Well, on that note, do you have any good prank stories that people
Oh,
have done on the circus or that you've done?
oh man, let me think about that. Yeah, okay. So we we were working in a theater. I think it was in Vegas, and we were like putting together a show. So we were kind of in this theater for rehearsals pretty often. And so you get to know the stage crew, you get to know everyone who works at the theater, and they become family. And so we printed out just ridiculous pictures of our faces of just double chin, whatever weird faces, and probably about that big, printed them off and then taped them. And only we were like kind of tall enough. Like he put me up on the perch pole and I climbed up on the perch pole and slapped it onto like the ceiling or the side of the wall to where they couldn't really get it. And
Nice.
so, or like pictures of them, and so they had pictures of them like kind of all over, and they kind of lived there for the whole contract. And then obviously, like when we were done, we went and took them down and didn't make them go get a ladder or anything like that. But yeah, we like to get silly with the crew, and it's always nice to like get to know people who you're working with. I think that's like very important to have a good like silly relationship with them.
Oh yeah, that's how you work the best.
Yep, exactly.
So, what would you say is the most rewarding part of your job?
I mean, I love what I do. I love that I inspire people. It's really cool because this summer when we've been taking a little bit of work off and training super hard, I couldn't believe probably I had about 10 different performers slash friends tell me that they have been so inspired by what I've been posting and how hard I've been training that it's inspired them, not even circus people, just like friends, of just being like, you really inspired me to like get back in the gym and try to lose weight and like get healthy and stuff. And it's really cool to hear that, because when I'm just like posting stuff, it's kind of just like I just imagine it was just for me. I didn't even know if people cared to see me balance on my head for the 10th time, you know, that week. Like, it's just, I kind of post it for me and for my own progress. And it's really cool to like hear feedback from people just saying that like you inspire them just by like posting whatever training videos and just like showing how hard you're working. And I think that's really cool. And, you know, that's not even the performance aspect side of it. That's just like, just training and working hard. Performance wise, I love being able to travel, get paid to travel, and see the world, which is pretty cool because I didn't really come from money growing up and grew up in a trailer house and stuff like that. And so I've had to work really hard for everything I've ever had. And I never got to really take trips like that and see the world, you know? And so it's really cool to actually like get paid to see the world and all because of my hard work.
Oh, right on.
Yeah.
What is one circus skill you personally wish you could master?
I haven't tried the Washington trapeze yet, which is the head balancing on a trapeze. But that is kind of my end all be all circus goal to maybe get eventually. But originally it was head balancing. I was working on that for like 4 years and made no progress. And like, because it's just so technical. And I didn't really have, I reached out to multiple performers to teach me how to head balance, and most of them who are doing it at a high level just don't have time to teach lessons. And then other than that, like there was no one in my area, and I would fly to Vegas and try to get lessons. I would fly all over the place, and I couldn't get any lessons. And so I was kind of self-taught in it, and which, you know, is sometimes not the best because you could pick up bad form and bad habits. And
Sure. Oh,
um,
yeah.
yeah. So, but I taught myself how to head balance, and I probably could have got it a lot faster if I had someone to teach me the correct way right away. But on my own, it took me about 4 years. And then I would say just even this last January, I was, you know, holding probably around up to 20 seconds if I was lucky. And just since January, I am now holding over 2 minute headstands, free
Oh,
balancing. And
wow.
yeah, which is super exciting. So I feel like I finally have mastered, um, maybe not quite mastered, but on the trail to master head balancing, and then being able to take it onto a Washington trapeze is kind of my end all be all circus goal, and do it on the perch.
Very
That's
nice.
great. Wow.
So, what advice would you give to a young person that sees your act that wants to try it out or at least get into the acrobat side of circus?
Yeah, and I do have people reach out to me asking me how they get their foot in the door with circus, and I appreciate it. And you know, it is kind of true that everyone's journey is different. It's kind of interesting. Some people get their break right away, and some people like me have to work 8 years of grinding and not giving up and working for peanuts, and until you finally get your big break. And I just think consistency is key. It's, you know, very cliche, classic, but like it really is. If you don't give up, I truly, truly believe something's going to happen for you eventually if you just keep at it. And I truly believe that. And it finally happened for me too.
All right, awesome.
All right on. What kind of uh, what kind of impact would you say your show or your circus has had on Portland? Has it
Ah,
been
on
positive?
Portland.
Hmm.
Yeah, in Portland in particular, for sure. We have such a big like community that supports us here, which is awesome. And to be honest with you, like the circus community is not that big in Portland because there's not a lot of circus work here, unfortunately, and the work that is here is not paid very well, which is why we leave all the time, and we barely perform in Portland at all, unless it's like our own shows that we're putting on, um,
But y'all
which
have a
people appreciate it.
but y'all guys have a huge acro community out there, correct?
Yeah, I mean, we have an acro community. It's not huge. Well, at least it's some people doing it as a hobby, you know, and or some people doing it as a side hustle, you know, and all of it is super awesome. And I'm just stoked that there's a community that likes to get in the gym and do circus, and I train with those people all the time, and whether they're doing it full time doesn't matter, you know. And but yeah, there's only a handful of us that actually are doing full time circus as a job and living in Portland, Oregon. It's a bit of a grind here.
Okay. All right.
One second. So I know I probably asked you that already. I think I asked you what the future was. I did ask that. So, what is a common misconception about the business side of running a circus people don't understand?
I mean, for us, like we do our own booking. We do our own kind of everything. And it's exhausting for sure. It's a lot of work. And kind of going back on what I said about like learning that social media is absolutely half of the job. You get most of your jobs from social media, so having a good social media, posting all the time, posting stuff you're working on, you know, it's that is half of the job. And I think a lot of maybe old school people don't believe in social media, or do it that much, or think you could get work from it. But I think it is half of our job these days, unfortunately. And fortunately, I don't know. I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
Yeah. So on your material, with you said your partner Dutch, right?
Yeah.
Who comes up with the craziest ideas? Is it you or him? Because I'm assuming it would be, I mean, you, because you're doing most of them.
I will say we both kind of come up with our crazy ideas. More he comes up with the ideas he's doing down there, and I kind of come up with the ideas that I'm doing up there. Um, but he's a very big personality, and so honestly, perch pole is kind of hard for him to do because he likes to be a big presence on stage and be silly and be all the things. And when he's doing perch pole, he can't do all that. He has to be very hyper focused, very like looking up pretty much the whole time. Like he barely can look at the crowd through the whole act if you really think about it. He's looking up. Um, so so he likes to come up with like ideas to be able to pull his silly side out. So right now we're working on writing kind of like a silly, like kind of strip burlesque act with perch, where we both kind of start off in our outfits, and it starts off as like maybe a serious-ish perch act, and then eventually like I will strip down to some lingerie, and then the big old gag at the end is that he will, while balancing the perch pole on his head, be undressing to whatever song, and underneath his suit he will then be wearing matching lingerie to me, and it's just keeping it, you know, silly, weird,
That's
and
awesome.
unpredictable. Yeah, so that's an act that we're working on. Obviously you can't book that for all stages and
Sure.
companies, but you know, there's like Spiegel World, that would be a great place to be able to do an act like that. And so yeah, we're always trying to push the limits on what we can do. We have a professional kind of act, and then having like more like comedy acts, I think with the perch world would be really cool to see, because a lot of times you just see very classic traditional perch, which is amazing and impressive. But I think to make us look different, we can put our little spin on it and our own little quirk.
Heck yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
Are y'all guys aiming
But
to go to Monte Carlo Festival?
You know, we've talked about it, and it is it's a goal for us for sure. It's just hard because like we know we actually met Dimitri when we were working in Germany, and he gave us our
Oh,
first
very
perch
nice.
lesson ever, and that was in January. And if you don't know who Dimitri is, he won Monte Carlo with his perch act of
wow.
on a unicycle and balancing
Mm.
a perch pole. She's doing probably head balancing up there, and he's juggling 5 clubs. Like they're insane, and they blew that out of the water. Like they're pretty much our perch idols. Like we look up to them so much. So you know they've they've done it. They were really successful there. I think that it would be really cool to at least try to do it and just get in the show. And I think maybe the new seven that we're working on is maybe the key to that. And so we have a few years of really finessing that act and getting it really, really good to stand a chance to step foot in Monte Carlo. But yeah, it's kind of secretly deep down a goal of ours.
Very nice.
Right on.
Yeah.
So, have you? How does your show differ from other shows that have traditional clowns and animals?
Yeah. So like with Rose City Circus, is that kind of your question?
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so ours kind of has an actual, I guess others probably do too, but ours has like a storyline where we play like characters and stuff. So each year for this Christmas show we do, it's like a kind of a different storyline. And a live band, which goes such a long ways. I think every performer loves performing to a live band because it's just the energy's so much better and bigger and the crowd feels it. Um, so I don't know how much different it would be, but we really do try to like have the live band have a mix of ground acts and aerial acts because sometimes if it's too aerial heavy, that's like kind of um, the crowd can glaze over. The
Right.
crowd can
Yeah.
glaze over a little. So we try to keep it different. And yeah, we get to play characters, which is always fun and good push for me because I never really act before. So that was like a fun new skill to pick up that I've learned over the years and just
Right on.
speaking to a mic and stuff. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how different it would be, but we do try. We put a lot of work into making this show really good. I mean, it speaks for itself. It sells out every year. We do about 13, 14 shows, and every single one of them sells out. So that's pretty awesome, which is the Portland community showing up and supporting us, which is really
Sure.
cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very nice.
That's
Very nice.
tremendous.
Yeah.
So you've toured all over US and you've been
Yeah.
abroad to other
Yeah.
countries. What would
Yeah.
be the difference between the US audience versus say Germany or Taiwan?
Yeah. I feel like when we performed in Taiwan recently, they did seem to be a little bit more quiet of a crowd, very polite. And which is always kind of interesting. You're like, do they like me? Like, because sometimes you do feel like you have to win a crowd over as a performer. It's kind of this interesting thing. It's just sometimes like you feel like you have to win them over. And so Taiwan, I was like, do they like us? Like, did we do okay? But then after the show, we got swarmed by everyone, and they all wanted pictures with us, and they all were just
Nice.
like, some of them didn't even speak English, but they were just like so excited. You could just tell they were just so excited and like patting you on the back and just like kind of grabbing your face, just like you're like this amazing, cool thing to them, and so yeah,
A
it
little
is. It
overwhelming.
does vary a little bit. What was that?
What would you? You said it was a
I was
little
in
overwhelming.
that could be
Yeah,
a little overwhelming because
it can
nothing,
for sure.
nothing, and
A little
then
bit of
boom,
different
everything.
culture. Yeah.
What would you
Yep.
say is one of your most memorable crowd interactions?
Um, I mean, the intimate shows are always really special to me. I mean, this some shows we've been doing for probably about like 12 years now, and we do them pretty much every year, and we have some of the same people coming back every year.
Oh,
And one
cool.
of them that stands out to me the most is I think this last year we got done performing, and I had like this teenager come up to me, and they were like, my mom has been taking me to your shows since I was a baby, and I couldn't even walk." And
Uh,
I am now, whatever, 13, 14 years old now. And I've seen your show every single year. And your act has gotten better and better every year. And they're just like a huge fan of us. And it just really dawned on me. I'm like, oh my gosh, you just don't really think about that kind of stuff, It's just like it's kind of like it's your job. You're doing what you love to do, but you don't really think about like how you inspire people like that and how they want to see you every year and they know who you are even though you don't know who they are, but they're very aware of who you are. And that's been really cool to see too.
Right on. OB, you got anything else?
No, I think that's about it.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, we're getting to the point where we're coming to the end of the show. So
Yeah.
I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning in. And I'd especially like to thank our guests for coming on. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Before we go, I do ask, could you tell everybody where they could find you now?
Where you can find us now. We are the Dauntless Duo, so you can find us on YouTube or Instagram. But yeah, we're located in Portland, Oregon, but we perform everywhere. We post our schedule of all the NBAs that we'll be at, the NBA halftimes we'll be at, since NBA season's about to start up and it takes over our lives a little bit. So you can kind of see us all over the country. So yeah, if you want to keep following along with our schedule, you can follow us on social media, Instagram, Dauntless Duo, and follow along with the journey.
Right on. You heard it there, folks. So till next time, we will see you down the road. Have a good one.
Thank you.